News Now. This is Good Morning Mississippi.
Tropical storm Gordon turns deadly in Florida. Details on what happened straight ahead.
Plus, when will the casinos open? The State Gaming Commission set to make a decision today.
Not all of South Mississippi was spared from Gordon's wrath. A look back at impacts.
It was a tragic ending, though, as Tropical Storm Gordon washed ashore across the Gulf states. This morning, officials are confirming a child was killed in Pensacola.
According to the National Weather Service, a tree fell on a mobile home while the child was inside just after 9 last night. So far, no word on the age or identity of the child.
Happening overnight, Gordon made landfall just east of Pascagoula. This video was taken just after midnight, and you can see the strong wind gusts. This was the scene for most of the night.
And some people waking up to wet roads and debris this morning. Jonathan Brannon is in Jackson County with a closer look at conditions there.
I'm standing on Pascagoula Beach right now, right off of Beach Boulevard. You may recognize a familiar face right here if you watch Good Morning America. Ginger Z, meteorologist here.
It's the hat.
That's right, it's the hat. I couldn't tell otherwise. I couldn't tell. I'm glad you came up and introduced yourself. You know, otherwise I wouldn't know. So tell us about covering this storm and what you've learned about, you know, this wasn't necessarily a huge storm, but it's important to cover storms like this.
Yes, any tropical storm, any cyclone of any sort is a big storm,
Right.
and I think we forget that after we have a season like last year. So it's important for me to be in the weather, number one, because this is my passion. I love the atmosphere, I love forecasting it, and I really don't think you can do that without coming here. And then on top of it, it's getting to know these areas. Would have no idea that the water's usually 50 yards back there, but I was talking to a woman today, and she's telling me about the land here.
Yeah.
And so it helps me when I'm forecasting in New York City to say, remember that time I was in Pascagoula and this happened?
It really gives you that firsthand experience.
And the good part about this storm is it's sliced. I mean, it went fast, right? So it's moving inland, and then it hits the friction of the land. It deteriorates even more quickly.
Absolutely.
Doesn't mean that you don't pay close attention, because a 70-mile-per-hour gust, which is what this had,
Right.
78 actually,
Oh, wow.
that could easily take down trees and power lines, that can put them into your home and car, that can kill you. And
Yeah.
so anytime it's to that level, I say we pay attention to it.
And you know, it's just several degrees off from being a major hurricane. I mean, you know, you never know. You really never know. And like you said about the beach being kind of further up this way, the water's never this choppy either. I mean, it's like a lake out here if you ever come out here on a normal day. So this is something that just shows the power of Mother Nature, shows that it's important to always keep things in mind, not be complacent, right? So I'm sure you see this all over the nation with storms. And you were saying earlier about non-named storms not necessarily getting the attention, you know, and they do as much damage. Right?
Here along the Gulf Coast, and
Yeah.
again, I've covered from Katrina to Isaac in Gulfport, but I haven't been to Pascagoula yet. But I noticed that y'all do very well with water. Anytime a lot of water falls, but you can have thunderstorms that produce 8 inches of rain that come through, do a flash flood, and
Right.
move on. So just like that, a rain band from a storm like this is important to pay attention to, because that's one of those things you don't drive into. You don't, you know, just last night, if you weren't on the road, you survive. And that's all you really have to do.
Just don't take chances, folks. All right, well, I'm with Ginger Z, Jonathan Brandon for WLOX News Now. Back to you in the studio.
Developing overnight, all curfews on the coast now lifted. That means you can now go out on the roads and onto public properties as you please.
People in our state capital also dealing with Gordon. Officials in Jackson are expecting anywhere from 3 to 6 inches of rain and winds up to 40 miles per hour. Dozens of workers are also on standby around the metro area in case of emergencies. So, you know, the state really not out of the woods yet. And, you know, we haven't possibly even seen the last of Gordon. Wesley, I understand we're watching some of those feeder bands.
Remnants?
Yeah, they're kind of sitting out there. We can actually see them east of Gulfport. If you watch these clouds long enough, you'll wind up seeing flashes of lightning, because there are still some thunderstorms associated with Tropical Storm Gordon hitting Alabama and the Florida Panhandle right now. And so that's these dark clouds you see there. And again, occasionally you do actually pick up a few lightning strikes. Of course, while I have it here, I'm guessing it won't show us any, but we did see some earlier this morning. So a recap of Gordon. It made its final approach to land last night. That official landfall just east of Pascagoula around 10 p.m. had maximum winds of 70 miles per hour during that landfall, according to the National Hurricane Center, and it did slam George and Jackson counties with some rain and wind impacts. A look at those rain impacts, you see that portions of those counties picked up over 2 inches of rainfall rainfall, but that really pales in comparison to what happened just to our east. Really just a short distance away near Pensacola, Florida, they picked up over 6 inches of rainfall, and that rain is still falling on areas in Alabama and the Florida Panhandle right now. Gordon now down to 40 miles an hour with the maximum winds. It's expected to continue moving to the northwest, but if the center of Gordon moves to the northwest, what happens to this feeder band over here? Will that also move toward the northwest and impact us on Wednesday? It is possible, and we'll show you the rest of your forecast coming up in just a little bit.
Thanks, Wesley. Right now, casinos are shut down, and we are waiting to learn when the doors will reopen. We expect the State Gaming Commission to meet later this morning to make that decision. Overnight, all 12 coast casinos were locked. Parking lots were empty. We'll keep you updated on what happens later this morning. Right now, we are also waiting to learn more about the day ahead for Ingalls workers. We do know the shipyard will be closed for the first shift. As of now, no word on second, third, or fourth shifts. The company is urging everyone to call the information line for updates.
And a reminder for parents on the coast this morning, all school districts in South Mississippi are closed today. All colleges and universities too keep abreast of those developments throughout the day. We'll let you know if there's any changes, of course.
Absolutely. Developing now and next on Good Morning Mississippi, a look at the scene around the region after Gordon plows through. Details on what happened in Dolphin Island ahead.
Plus, shots fired in Gulfport, an officer involved, a breakdown of what led to the gunfire and where the investigation stands.
Plus, a big bust in Hancock County. Agents break up a moonshine operation, but so far, no arrests. The latest on that case in just a matter of minutes. It's 6:07.
Now, WLOX First Alert Weather with meteorologist Wesley Williams.
And welcome back, everybody. There's a check on the live neighborhood network, and you can see some of those temperatures are still in the 70s. More importantly, the rain gauges don't have a lot of rain in them. These are the latest rain totals since midnight this morning, and you can see the biggest rain totals in George County. Lucedale at the Singing River Federal Credit Union picking up over 3/10 of an inch of rain so far today. Those winds have also been pretty breezy there. The peak wind gusts over 30 miles an hour in George County near Lucedale. Also some gusty winds into Pascagoula as well. And then the farther south and west you go, the lower the wind speeds. The Silver Slipper Casino, hardly a wind over 10 miles an hour. But look, even Stone County, you were also close to the center of that storm as it moved ashore, so you also had some gusty conditions there. Here's a live look outside in downtown Biloxi. Beach Boulevard, pretty quiet right now, no impacts. You can see the chop coming there on the Mississippi Sound as it brushes up along the Biloxi beachfront, but no flooding, no surge flooding at this time, and none is expected. That storm surge warning was allowed to be canceled. Still, we could get some rain today that could lead to rainfall flooding. A flash flood watch remains in effect because we do have that chance for some showers and thunderstorms today. It's much lower than what we were originally expecting because the system is a little further east than originally expected. So instead of a 100% chance of rain like what they're dealing with in Alabama and the Florida Panhandle right here, I've lowered our chances down to 40% because it is possible as Gordon, look at where the center of Tropical Storm Gordon is going. It's lifting from near Hattiesburg and moving toward Jackson. So that would be a northwest motion. We're watching it right now on radar. We can see that. So what happens to these feeder bands? Are they just going to stay put over Mobile and Pensacola, or are they also going to follow along with Gordon a little bit to the west? Our futurecast is indicating that is possible. So if you are in George and Jackson counties, really keep an eye on this today. You have the best likelihood. Some of those feeder band showers and storms may be pressing westward into your location by this afternoon. The farther west you are, again, it looks like Bay St. Louis, you're going to get some sunshine today. Picayune, probably some sunny breaks as well. And then in the middle there, Harrison County, Stone County, you might see a few of those passing showers from time to time, but looks like those are going to be more mist than hit for y'all in the middle. On the marine forecast today, looking at a moderate chop in the Sound. Seas running 2 to 4 feet, a little bit smoother than yesterday. High tide coming at you this morning and low tide arriving by this evening. Here's a look at that 7-day forecast. We expect today and tomorrow to be impacted by Gordon's feeder bands, possibly. And then after that, we should see a decrease in rain activity Friday into parts of the weekend.
Well, Tropical Storm Gordon inundates Pascagoula overnight. Take a look at this video showing the view coming over the high-rise into Pascagoula. The heavy downpours really making it quite difficult to drive. The rain flooding roads in Mississippi's flagship city. Big puddles piling up on the streets. Pascagoula police posting these pictures also overnight, showing first responders dealing with injuries after an accident on Highway 90 between the bridges, and warning residents to stay off the roads at that time. Now, new video showing Gordon hitting parts of Alabama. Take a look at the scene in Dauphin Island. High winds toppled a tree, blocking the road. A billboard was also ripped apart.